Hey everyone, do I have audio? Please let me know how the audio is. I'm just gonna do another half an hour of live streaming with you guys. I'm gonna try to do these more often. Just hanging out with our subscribers, but doing some Q&A, just talking about random stuff, about religion, politics, culture, recent events, any other questions you might have, personal stuff. Just let me know in the live chat if you have my audio, please, so I know that everything is there. Anybody, let me know in the live chat. Do you have audio? Somebody's liking it. I see people are joining in. Okay, Jack. Jack is saying, "Oh, hi, Jack. We missed you. Audio is good, bro." Okay, great. Okay, cool. So, what are we talking about today? There's so many things happening. Just watch some highlights from the Joe Biden versus Bernie debate. This whole I'm just gonna I'll tell you some stuff until somebody in the live chat asks me a question or say something that I could read. But just gonna say that the whole Biden saying like, oh, I'm gonna definitely pick a woman, and people going after Bernie for not committing to picking a woman. I love the fact that identity politics is hurting Bernie, even though I wish Bernie was winning. The thing is that I want Bernie supporters to hate identity politics, because the more they use identity politics against Bernie, the faster identity politics is going to be removed from more people in the left. Like, if people in the left get sick and tired of identity politics being used against them, the sooner we're going to get rid of this woke culture among more people. So I like it. I like the fact that so many Bernie supporters are sick and tired of all of these misogynistic accusations and stuff like that. I mean, it's such a. And also, if I was a woman, I would be offended if people were pandering to me like, "Oh, I'm gonna pick a woman." Like, why? Like, I don't. If I was a woman, I would be like, "Yeah, I don't need you to pick me because I'm a woman." Okay, I have experience. Okay, the fact that I'm a woman should not be at all a reason for me to be picked for anything. I work hard for all the qualifications and experience that I have. Anyways, let me see if I see anything in the live chat. Jack is saying, been so busy. Hopefully, I don't lose signal on SkyTrain. Oh, okay. Be careful if you're in Vancouver and SkyTrain. How is Vancouver right now, by the way, Jack? I heard everything is on lockdown. KCA saying, how is the Philippines? Well, we're in Philippines. In Manila, I think everything is in lockdown. Where I am, people, like, everywhere, every store you go, they have lines, so keep people separate from each other. They're giving out free hand sanitizers when you enter malls. They take your temperature when you enter malls, so that's good. Coffer is saying, good morning, Armin. Good morning. The Babylon Project is saying hello. House Stock is saying, how's the situation in Iran with the virus? Oh my god, where do I get started? Like, that is. I'm gonna make an entire video on that, I hope, at some point, if I get the time. But you have to be more specific, because if I get started on that, this is gonna be a 2 hour video. Beej is saying, woohoo, hi everyone, I'm back. I love you all and so happy to see you. Oh, hi Beej, we missed you. Where have you been? The Babylon Project saying they're closing down many stores, bars, and cinemas here in LA. KCA saying, hey Beej. Okay. Beej, we missed you. Um, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna address the Iran issue just a little bit, not so much, because I'm gonna make an entire video on that. But there's many things in Iran that is had contributed to this faster spread of the coronavirus. A lot of the main city in Iran that this ground zero for the coronavirus in Iran was the city of Qom. I don't know if people know, but Qom is the Vatican city of Shia Islam. Okay, There are some important cities. The most important cities in Sunni Islam are Mecca and Medina. Yeah, both of them in Saudi Arabia, and Jerusalem. The most important cities for Shia Islam, and a lot of Shias would deny this, would be. No, don't worry, it's okay. The most important cities in Shia Islam are Karbala and Najaf, which are both in Iraq. But the most important one, those are important for, they're holy cities and very important historically. But when it comes to education and source of political authority, and universities, and the place that is the center of imams, Shia imams being educated and coming out of it, is Qom. Qom, I think, is competing with Najaf in Iraq, and they don't. But Qom is definitely. I mean, some people would disagree with that, but Qom is the Vatican of Shia Islam. It's the center of Shia Islam. And when it comes to holiness, Karbala to Shia is more important than Mecca and Medina. They might deny it, but that's the case. So Qom, the most holiest city in Iran, and the most important city, not the holiest city, the holiest would be Mashhad, but the most important city in Iran when it comes to Shia Islam, the center of the central command of Shia Islam around the world, was ground zero for coronavirus. And there might be religious reasons for why that happened. Let me see if you guys said anything else. Where is it? Oh, here. There might. Okay, I'm gonna say this quickly so I could read the rest of your comments. One of the reasons might be the pilgrims, and and religious gatherings that were not canceled, and also in some other Shia center cities around Iran, where people kiss the shrines. Imagine, right now they're saying public gatherings is the best place for the spread of coronavirus. But imagine public gatherings where people were kissing the same thing over and over again, right? And that's what people do in Shia shrines. And Sunnis hate Shias for doing that because they see that as worshiping dead people instead of God, right? So the shrines of the imams and the children of the imams are constantly kissed by Shia Muslims. And to prove, there's a lot of videos going around to a lot of religious Shia people, to prove that coronavirus is not going to break their faith, is that they go to these shrines and they don't just kiss the shrines, they lick them. They lick the shrines, all right? It's insane. And the reason why a lot of people are refusing not to go to these places, even though the government the government is like right now between a hard and rock place, because they want to make sure that the coronavirus doesn't spread, but they also don't want to seem anti-religious. These shrines are supposed to heal you from all sorts of diseases. So a lot of shit people are like saying, like, why would we not go here during Corona? Because these shrines are supposed to be protecting us from exactly the situation. So there's a lot of internal struggle going on. People want to go. People are like, they're saying coronavirus is a conspiracy to destroy our faith and take away our religion from us. And the government wants to enforce the rules, but they also don't want to seem anti-religious. So that's happening. And then another way that this whole Shia Islam is spreading coronavirus is because a lot of people are coming up with, a lot of mullahs, imams are coming up with Islamic medicine, okay? Islamic medicine, and telling people what to do and what not to do to prevent and also heal, apparently, the coronavirus based on Islamic medicine. And a lot of doctors are coming out and speaking against them and saying, like, this is bad advice, this is not scientific, please don't listen to them. But now the doctors that are saying this is anti-scientific are being accused of being anti-Islamic. So yeah, they're dealing with all that stuff. Yeah, which I'm gonna actually, I'm not, if I get a time to make a video on this, I'll show you the videos, right? To while I review them. It's insane. Let me see what else you guys say. Yeah. A lot of people are just challenging others, challenging, saying like, you know what, we are gonna go to the shrines, because this is a challenge. This is a challenge because they are, if you really, they're saying this is now the true believers are now going to be separated from the fake believers, because if you really believe in the imams, and if you really believe in the shrine and in the healing power of the shrines, this is the way, this is now the time to show it. And you go show it by licking the shrines to show that, like, look, I'm not afraid of the coronavirus because I have the spiritual protection of these Shia imams behind me. Guys, make sure you tag Atheist Republic if you want me to read your comment. Uh, if I miss anything, repeat. Okay, here. Chopin tag Atheist Republic, so that's good. So what's the discussion? Oh yeah, the discussion is based on, when I do these live streams, the discussion we're having is going to be based on what you guys say. So anything you guys just talk about, that's what I'm gonna discuss, and it's going to be short. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell button, because I'm going to do this without announcement. It's going to be very casual, no editing, just chilling out with you guys. So 613 is saying it's only like 0.62% fatal. Most people will be fine even if they get infected. It's bad advice, but it's not going to make much difference in the grand scheme of things. Well, I don't know. Okay, so 2% fatal is really bad. Like, yeah, if you get it, the chances of you dying from it is low, but 2% of all the people that will get it is a lot of people. And the only way to stop something like this from killing more people is to overreact to it. Like, we might be overreacting to it, but we should be overreacting to it, right? So, like, yeah, I know the flu has killed more people than this, but if you don't want another flu, another, like, and if you don't want the coronavirus to get to the point where it kills like close to the flu level people, you overreact to these things. You don't panic. And when I say overreact, I'm not talking about the people. The people should just like calm down and do the things that the experts are telling them. My understanding is, and don't trust me, go double check yourself. My understanding is, wash your hands, don't go outside if you don't have to, avoid public gatherings. Mm, what else? Don't touch your face. And also the usual advice for boosting your immune system. Again, don't trust me, go double check these things. But the main things that always boost your immune system is lots of sleep. This is not just about corona. This is about fighting all diseases. The best thing to do is to just make sure you have a very strong immune system, is to sleep a lot, drink lots of water, eat healthy food, eat lots of vegetables. What else? Exercise. Um, this is a long-term investment in your immune system. And again, this is my understanding of what helps your immune system. Don't trust me, double check. I'm not an expert. Okay? This is what I always try to do. Even when the coronavirus is gone, I keep trying to do that. Okay? But yeah, I want governments to overreact, and I want people to calm down. Not panicking doesn't mean not taking it seriously. So when people say don't panic, that doesn't mean like this is not serious. Take it serious. Don't panic. This is not contradict. These two things are not contradictory. Don't panic, but take it seriously. Okay. Shubham saying ignoring it won't help, panicking won't help. We need to follow the prevention measures like washing hands, not touching face, and other basic hygienic stuff. Yeah. By the way, it's really hard not touching your face when you are trying not to touch your face. I've noticed that I don't usually touch my face until people say, "Don't touch your face." I don't know what's up with that. Sarah saying, Rouhani said Iran is past the peak of outbreak. Do you believe that is true? Well, the first answer is I have no idea. Okay, and I think most people shouldn't claim that they know, but whatever source tells me, whether we're past peak or not past the peak, Rouhani, which is Iran's president, is not a source that I would trust. I'm not saying he's wrong, but I would rather hear it from someone else than Rouhani, because obviously Iran's president has his own agenda when he says things like that. So I don't know if we're past the peak or not in Iran, but I'd rather find a better source than the president of Iran for that. Who's this? Khahmin is saying, what do you think about Islamic Golden Age and Sufi masters such as Rumi? Do you think that Islam was more tolerant back then? I don't like calling. Okay, the Golden Age is real. Okay, people that say, "Oh, the Golden Age was not real and this was exaggerated and stuff," that's not true. Okay, it was a Golden Age. It was the center of philosophy, science, poetry, art. That's all true. But I don't like calling it the Islamic Golden Age because it had nothing to do with Islam. I call it the Arab/Persian Golden Age. Okay? Because it wasn't because of Islam that the Arabs and Persian went through the Golden Age. It was because of the science. It was in spite of Islam, not because of Islam. Okay? There's very little, if anything, in the Quran and the Hadith. Like you have to really stretch some verses to be able to say like, oh yeah, the Quran is responsible for this, which it wasn't. The scientists and the poets and the artists and the philosophers, they did their science and all that stuff because there was enough money to go around for people to be able to become experts in those things. Almost every empire, when they at some point when they became rich, they went and started becoming when they had enough wealth, more people ended up focusing on those topics rather than war and warfare and stuff like that. Like there was a lot more dedication to science and technology and other stuff, right? Even the Mongols, which were the most obsessed people with destruction and killing, at some point, even the Mongols at some point decided to start building stuff. Okay, so this is, and in fact, a lot of these philosophers and scientists not only were not Islamic, some of them had anti-Islamic views. Not all of them, but some of them. But there's nothing in their work that could be There's nothing in their work that could be that we could give Islam credit for them doing those things, right? People do science, and nations with more wealth, like the Arab Empire, became very wealthy. And when nations become more wealthy, more people will dedicate their careers to these things. That's just the nature of things. The Christian countries went through that as well. India went through that as well. Like every empire that became rich went through that. So it's not because of Islam that they did that. So that's why I don't call it the Islamic Golden Age. I like to call it the Arab Persian Golden Age. Chopin saying, I get that for some reason I seem to touch my face during the live streams. Need to stop. Yeah, stop that. Let me see. Okay. 613 saying, I agree with Armin. The wealth makes people specialize by offering a large market or a few wealthy people to patronize them. Talking about patronize them, you could patronize us by becoming a patron. There's a link to our Patreon account in the description. Please become a patron of our show, support our show, and also share this if you can't support our show financially. Please share these videos. Please subscribe, like, comment, hit the bell thingy. 613 is saying the Renaissance was centered on wealthy Italian merchant cities. Exactly. It started there as well. The Renaissance happened not because of Christianity, right? The Renaissance happened because of Italy becoming extremely rich. And, at some point when you become very extremely rich, there's more money to go around for art, philosophies, poetry, science, and stuff like that. Your country can afford, not having everybody dedicated to farming or blacksmiths or, soldiers. Your nation will be able to afford to do that. So more people are wealthy enough to dedicate their lives to other things. Another person is saying, I see many non-Muslims, including atheists, admire Persian poets such as Sadi, Hafiz, or Rumi. Do you think that Sufism is healthier for form of Islam? No, not at all. In fact, Sufism is extremely dangerous. In fact, going back to the golden age of Islam, the reason why, the golden age of Arabs and Persians, the reason why it didn't end up becoming the age of enlightenment of the of you know the Arabs and Persians, just like it did, because the Western Europe then went through a similar period, right? It went through the Renaissance, and then the Renaissance led to the Enlightenment movement, and the Enlightenment movement changed the entire freaking planet, right? And it was like an anti-religious movement as well, in many senses. And it seemed for a while that this was what was gonna happen in the Arab and Persian world, right? The reason why it did not happen is largely credited to people like Ghazali and Sufism with their anti-rationality movement. Okay, Sufism is a very sneaky, anti-rational, anti-science movement, and it gets away with people tolerate it more because it all seems lovey-dovey, mystic, poetic stuff, but it's extremely dangerous. More people that are hate violence tolerate it because it seems like that is not it doesn't promote violence, but is completely irrational. It's actually and not just irrational, it fights rationality. Ghazali himself wrote a book against the philosophers and scientists. Like Ghazali's whole philosophy was against people like Ibn Sina, where they were obsessed with science and philosophy, right? And it's because of people like Ghazali and other Sufis that the age of enlightenment didn't happen in the Arab world. So no, Sufism is dangerous. In many cases, it's actually even more dangerous than traditional Islam because it's very sneaky, and it could, you know, it just comes in and people, has a disguise that is not dangerous, and it could like really screw everything up. What I the Persian poet that I like the most is Khayyam. He was anti-religious. He seems, based on his poetry, a lot of times he comes off as an atheist. He seems to be very, very pro-skepticism, pro-rationality. So Khayyam is one of my favorites. He was very anti-Islam. Just read some of his anti-Islamic poetry. It's amazing. Mars saying, Armin, have you ever done a discussion on AlKhazzani? That's the name thrown around. Oh, I just did right now. Is that what you mean, Ghazali? I like to learn more about him if he's significant in the Islamic world. Ghazali is extremely significant, more significant to the Islamic ideology today than most Muslims realize. There's some people that claim, and I don't know how true that is, that Ghazali's influence on Islam as we understand it today is greater than Muhammad himself. And I don't know, like, yeah, that could be argued. I at first I didn't I believe that. I mean, technically, we don't even know if Muhammad was real or not, and I want to discuss that as well, if Muhammad was real or not. But Ghazali shaped the Islamic world significantly, very significantly, and a lot of people do not a lot of even Muslims do not know that. Yeah, but it was, the emphasis of scripture and divine authority was being reduced in the so-called golden age of Islam, right? So-called because I call it the golden age of Arabs and Persians. More people were, it was still there, and people were still Muslims and blah blah blah. But it seemed to be, even if it was there, had less of an impact on people's motivations and the way they did politics, the way they did trade. It was being reduced, right? And but so it's people like Ghazali really screwed that up because they thought, like, maybe the thing about the Sufis is that they don't really rely on scripture. that much we think like the scripture is like a common man way of reaching to divine authority, right? Like they think like scripture, the prophets came because most people cannot achieve what the Sufis can achieve. Sufis can tap into the source directly. They could tap into divine authority directly. But because most people are too they can't do that. They need the prophets to basically come and make things easy for them, right? They think the scriptures are just for the dumb, the common man ways of tapping into divine authority, right? But the thing is that whether, even though the Sufis didn't really rely much on scripture, I mean, they did, but not like letter by letter. Like they still quoted it, they still memorized it, they still did zikr, like repeated different verses just to do their, they call it zikr, breathing in, breathing out, using the Quranic scripture and stuff like that. They still did it, but they didn't follow it like like it's law, like it's commandments. They just more treated scripture more like a mystic thing to, just say it and worship God and be closer to God rather than something that you need to follow. So even though the Sufis themselves didn't take the scriptures seriously, more like the mullahs or the Islamic scholars at that time. There was a war between them and the traditional Islamic scholars at that time, between the Sufis. Even though they weren't doing that, they were still against the rationalists. Because they thought the rationalists think that they could use their own mind and their own logic to figure out the world. But the Sufis were like, no, there is no way. You only need faith. You only need divine authority. That's the only way to get to the truth. And you have to tap into the truth using like these methods and stuff like that. So even though the Sufis themselves didn't take the scripture that seriously as the Islamic, more traditional Islamic scholars, they were still an anti-rationality movement, which is very dangerous, right? So the problem, the reason why that is also dangerous is because when we have people that are tired of the traditional Islamic practice, that's the great opportunity for us to come in and introduce them the skeptic method, the scientific method, the rationality, the using rationality as a method of understanding the world. But the Sufis come and they give them something easier and something more poetic and something that emotionally touches them, and like they come between us and the Islamic scholars. So like, oh, you're tired of this whole Sunni traditional Islamic narrative, and you don't like the strict rules, and you want something more flexible and something more lovey-dovey, kumbaya thing. The Sufis come in and they steal them from us. They steal away the people that we were supposed to get into our camp, and they have the advantage because it's just so easy, right? Like if you want to sell the scientific method, or if you want to sell people to understand how logic works and stuff, that takes work. That takes work. The Sufi method, or the mystics and stuff like that, they just come tell you some things that don't mean anything, and it just sounds good, and people are like, okay, I just have to feel like this, like just have some good vibes or something, and it feels like it's just easy, and that's why they have the marketing advantage to us, right? So that's why it's so dangerous, because again, they're taking people away from us. Let me see who else. Chris is saying, I dig it. More Armin is a good thing. Ah, thank you, Christy. Hi, Christy. Christy saying, Beej, it's so good to have you back. Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm going to try to do these more often. Yet somebody saying toilet paper alternative is bidet. Yeah, we have bidets here in Philippines. I was just joking with the toilet paper that I got, because here it's not that big of a problem because everybody uses water. Toilet paper is just for drying. It's not for cleaning. Use water here. Hey y'all, what's happening? Not much. I'm gonna end this now unless there's any other questions. Let me see if anybody tagged. I'm gonna try to keep these short. If I keep these short, I get motivated to do them more often, right? If every time I do one of these, I do them for 2 hours, then if I don't have time, I'm not gonna even start one. But if every time I do it, I just do one for half an hour, then I will be like, okay, let's do it. I have half an hour. I could do another one of these. Chopin saying Sufism in India was kind of influenced by Hinduism and its practices back in the day. Yeah, Sufism is so flexible that wherever you see it, it's like a sponge. It takes whatever is around it. Khan Min is saying, "You are awesome, Armin. I read that the UN endorses Sadi and many people from the West, quote, Golistan a lot. Sufism cannot be that bad, can it?" Um, well, Sadi is not the first person that comes into my mind when it comes. Sadi has a lot of great advice, some stupid advice, some great advice. Sadi is fine. The main person that I don't like when it comes to Sufism is Ghazali. Sadi is not everything Sadi said was Sufism. So there was some really good advice in Sadi's poetry, but if Sufism by itself is horrible. It's definitely horrible. Um, Anything that is promoting irrationality is horrible. Like you don't have it doesn't have to be like, oh, here's a suicide bomb, go kill a bunch of infidels for you to be realized that this is bad. If you're promoting faith over rationality, you're a dangerous ideology. If you're promoting divine authority as a source of figuring out what's true or not, it doesn't matter if you're traditional Islam, Sunni Islam, Shia Islam, Sufi Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism. They are all promoting superstition, and the more lovey-dovey they are, the more they're successful with their marketing, and it's just they're all dangerous. Not witness is saying, "Oh, I had to run in the end. Oh well, much love. You all hope you had a good stream. Yeah, subscribe to this and do the bell thingy so when I come live, you guys know see it right away." Is Erdogan in good health? I think he is. Why? Is there? I don't know. Was there news about him not being in good health? I must have missed that. Chopin was saying someone accused Trump of bringing a German scientist to produce a corona vaccine exclusive for Americans. I don't know. I've seems like a conspiracy theory, but sometimes conspiracy theories are true. But I'm not gonna just believe things until there's a credible source for it. There might be. I haven't looked. Matt Rose is saying, "What do you think of the Philippines siding with China?" I think the United States kind of forced Philippines' hands on this because when China came and took a whole bunch of islands for Philippines, United States was the traditional ally of Philippines when it comes to being against China, and it's a bit of Obama's fault because Obama really didn't do much to defend Philippines against China in that situation. So Philippines is saying like, okay, well, this traditional superpower that was on my side is not really defending me much. The best way to make sure that I'm going to go to this other, maybe the alternative would be to get closer to this upcoming superpower, which is China. Like, I think, unfortunately, that was a bit of Obama's fault on that. I don't know why, maybe there's some good reason for that, but I think Obama kind of forced Philippines' hand on that. Hello from Turkey. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it here. Let me know if I was wrong about anything or if you disagree in the comment section. Please share these videos. Please tell people to subscribe to Atheist Republic. Hit the bell thingy. Subscribe to the newsletter. Link is in the description. That's the only way to make sure that we are always in touch with you guys, even if YouTube or Facebook or Twitter start suppressing our content. Marsh saying, "Thanks, Armin, for doing this." Oh, yeah, no worries. Good to be back. Oh, yeah, Beach. It's really good to have you back. All right. See you guys later. Bye.